Hi, I'm Mason, 34, and my family saw me less as a person and more as a walking ATM. One click changed everything. It was supposed to be just another awkward family reunion, the usual buffet of emotional landmines and passive-aggressive small talk. I brought wine. Sarah brought Seth, her parasite of a husband. My parents brought the same old guilt sandwiches they always served cold. I made it exactly 2 hours before slipping into the kitchen to check my phone. Not for messages. God knows no one texts me unless they need something, but to refresh my banking app. Just a reflex. I wasn't expecting any surprises. $4.87. I blinked. Hit refresh. Again. Still $4.87. $4.87. Yesterday? Over 14 grand. Emergency fund, bills, savings, life. All gone. Before I could process it, Seth walked in with a beer, leaned against the fridge like he owned it. Relax, he said, grinning that smug little grin that made me want to staple his eyebrows together. We needed it more than you. He actually snorted, like this was funny. Behind him, Sarah's laugh echoed from the living room. Don't be so dramatic, she called out. It's not like we stole it. We're family. I looked around, waiting for someone, anyone, to jump in. To say, hey, that's not okay. But Mom was across the room knitting like she couldn't hear me over the click-clack of her needles. Dad didn't even look up from his phone. Mom? I said. Did you know about this? She sighed. Like I just told her we were out of cranberry sauce. You have a good job, she said. No kids. No mortgage. You'll be fine. I opened my mouth but no sound came out. My fingers curled tight around my phone. You left your info on the family computer, Sarah said, casual as ever. Maybe next time don't log in and walk away. You're making this a bigger deal than it needs to be, Seth added. We used it for rent. Groceries. Survival. You've been helping for years. What's the difference? I grabbed my bag. No one flinched. No apologies. No shame. You're leaving already? Mom asked like I was being rude for not staying to be robbed further. Yup, I said, zipping my coat. But don't worry. I'll be in touch. Sarah rolled her eyes. We needed it more than you. That's just facts. I reached for the doorknob. Paused. Looked over my shoulder. Then you won't mind what's coming next. They laughed. But something outside was already moving. And for once, it wasn't me. The night air hit me like a slap as I stepped outside, my body still buzzing from the shock of it all. My cousin Jen was standing by the driveway, arms crossed, eyes wide. I heard what Sarah said. She said softly. That wasn't right. I couldn't even answer. If I opened my mouth, I'd scream. I got in my car, gripped the steering wheel like it could ground me, and tried not to punch it. My whole body was trembling, rage mixed with that kind of deep hurt that doesn't have a name yet. I stared straight ahead for a long time before finally pulling away from the curb. They drained me. Literally. And somehow I was the one being dramatic. This wasn't the first time. It started small. Sarah forgot to pay her phone bill once. I covered it. Then Seth lost his job and asked for a little help. Then their daughter's birthday came up, and they assumed I'd foot the bill. And every time, they said the same thing. You're the responsible one. You're lucky, Mason. You don't struggle like Sarah. You should help. Help turned into obligation. Obligation turned into expectation. Expectation turned into theft. And somehow, every time, they made me feel like the bad guy if I hesitated. You wouldn't be here if it weren't for us, Dad once said when I balked at paying their electric bill. Translation, we created you, now fund our lifestyle. What they never saw, never asked, was how I barely scraped by for 6 months when I got laid off. How I skipped 3 vacations just to rebuild my savings. How I quietly paid off Sarah and Seth's credit card debt 2 years ago because they begged, and I said yes like a fool. They never paid me back. Never even said thank you. Last week, Sarah texted, You still coming to the reunion? I said, Yeah. Should I bring something? She replied, Just bring yourself and your card. I laughed when I read it. Thought it was a joke. Now I knew better. 2 days after the reunion, Sarah started calling. I ignored her. Then Seth texted, Call her. She's freaking out. So I did. 5th try. Mason, she said, her voice low, shaky. We have a problem. Oh, we do? I said. She plunged ahead. The power company came today. We're behind. Like way behind. They're threatening to shut it off Monday. So? I said flatly. So we need your help. I actually laughed. That short, bitter laugh you only get from years of being used. You drained my savings, I said. And now you want more? It wasn't just for us. She snapped. We helped Mom and Dad too. Dad's car broke down, remember? No. I don't. Because no one told me. You always say no when it's not an emergency. This isn't just messed up, I said, my voice cold. It's criminal. You're being dramatic. She hissed. It's family. You've always helped. That's what you're for, right? That was it. That night I didn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, playing every memory from the last 5 years like a slideshow of exploitation. They never saw me as a person. Just a resource. 3 days later, Mom called. We need to talk. I almost didn't answer. But part of me wanted to know, would they even pretend to be sorry? Spoiler, they wouldn't. When I walked in, Sarah was already there, arms folded. Seth beside her, bored. Mom in the kitchen. Dad flipping through the mail like I didn't just catch them committing identity theft. So, Sarah said, are we going to act like adults or what? That depends, I replied. You ready to confess to felony theft? She scoffed. God, you're so extra. It wasn't theft. It was family money. Seth nodded. You can spare it. So why the drama? I didn't give permission. You didn't say no either. Sarah muttered. Because I didn't know, Sarah. I turned to Mom. And you? You just went along with this. She looked away. We all agreed you could handle it. Dad added. We trusted you to do what's right. I stood up. And what's right is letting you steal from me. Sarah rolled her eyes. Stop saying steal. It was for the family. I smiled. Then you won't mind when the family deals with the consequences. Seth narrowed his eyes. What does that mean? I didn't answer. Not yet. But outside, the storm was already at the door. The bang on the door was so loud it rattled the cheap wall clock above the TV. 3 sharp knocks. Knock. 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 Sarah jumped. Seth nearly fell out of his chair. Mom gasped, backing away from the counter. Dad froze mid-turn of a magazine page. I didn't move. Open the door? Sure. But not before savoring the moment. Seth stood up, nervous energy pulsing through his fake casual stance. Mason, he said, voice low. Tell me you're not serious. I'm very serious. I opened the door. 3 agents stepped inside, black jackets, badges, zero expressions. They were all business, like walking slabs of legal consequence. One held a clipboard, the other a tablet. The third did a slow sweep of the room like he already knew what was coming. Are you Mason Carver? The lead agent asked. Yes. Thank you for coming. He gave a crisp nod. You're listed as the reporting party. We'll take it from here. The second agent turned to the rest of my lovely family. You are listed as parties of interest in an ongoing investigation into financial fraud and identity theft. Sarah's face went from pink to white in seconds. She dropped into a chair like her bones had melted. Seth? He tried to laugh it off. This is insane. You want to put your own sister in jail? You put yourself there. I said. Family ties don't make illegal activity legal, said agent number 2, flipping through her tablet. Mom covered her mouth with her hand, already tearing up. Identity theft? She whispered. He's our son. Exactly. I said. Your son. Not your ATM. Seth tried again. We didn't steal anything. You transferred over $14,000 from my account without permission. That's not a family favor, Seth. That's a felony. But we needed it. Sarah cried, mascara already running. You always helped us. We didn't think you'd. Thinking you're entitled to someone's money doesn't make it yours. Agent number 3 said coolly. Remain seated, please. And suddenly they did. All of them. For the first time in my life, they actually shut up and listened. Mom turned to me, voice trembling. Mason, sweetheart, we didn't mean to hurt you. We were desperate. You've always been the strong one. We could count on you. I looked her dead in the eye. You don't get to cry now. Sarah tried to speak, but no words came out. Her hands were shaking. Seth opened his mouth again, but the glare from one of the agents shut him down. You want to talk about what family means? I said, stepping closer, voice steady. It means trust. It means respect. It means asking, not stealing. It means not laughing while you bleed me dry. They had nothing. Not a single word. I picked up my laptop bag from where I dropped it earlier and turned to the lead agent. I'll be outside. Let me know if you need anything else. He nodded. Thank you, Mr. Carver. I walked out. And this time, no one followed. Not a single voice calling my name. Not a single guilt trip. Not even a pathetic wait. From Sarah. All I heard was the cold slap of the front door closing behind me. And for the first time in years, I was free. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I drove. No destination. Just streetlights and silence, and the low hum of a car engine finally not taking me to someone else's crisis. My phone buzzed nonstop in the passenger seat. Calls, texts, voicemails. I didn't look. I didn't need to. I already knew what they'd say. How could you do this to us? You ruined the family. Please fix this. We didn't mean it. We need you. But that was the whole point, wasn't it? They only needed me when my wallet was full. When my boundaries were negotiable. When I was willing to bleed quietly for their comfort. By midnight, I pulled into a driveway I hadn't visited in years. My grandmother's house. She'd been gone for 5 years now, but I still had the key. She always told me, if they ever turn on you, Mason, come here. This door will open for you. It still did. I let myself in, dropped my bag, and sank onto the couch I used to nap on as a kid. The silence wrapped around me like a weighted blanket, not heavy, safe. I slept for 11 hours straight. Woke up to birdsong and the smell of dust and old books. I made coffee in a chipped mug and stood at the kitchen window, watching the light creep over the backyard fence she used to garden behind. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was bracing for impact. But the peace didn't last. That afternoon, the first email came. From Dad. This has gone too far, Mason. You've humiliated the entire family. What happened to loyalty? Loyalty. As if I broke some sacred code by finally saying no. I didn't reply. Then Sarah texted. Hope you're happy. They froze my accounts. Seth's being investigated at work. You ruined our lives over a few payments. A few payments? Try 5 years of silent sacrifices. Try emotional blackmail with a smile. Try bankrolling everyone while being called selfish if I hesitated. Then came Mom. A voicemail this time, her voice quiet and cracking. You didn't have to do it this way. We could have handled it like a family. They're threatening charges, Mason. We might lose the house. I listened to that line 3 times. We might lose the house. And all I could think was, I already lost the home the day they decided I was worth more as a bank account than a son. 2 days later, a message from my cousin Luke, Seth's brother. We barely ever talked. Maybe shared 5 words a year at family barbecues. His text was short. Just a heads up. Sarah's saying you approved the transfers. Lawyers involved. Watch your back. Of course she was. Even now, with her world falling apart, she was still spinning the story. Still rewriting herself as the victim and me as the villain. I called my lawyer. I want to press full charges, I said. And I want a restraining order. Let them try. But not every message was hostile. A week later, I got an email from Kelly, Seth's sister. We hadn't spoken since college. I just wanted to say you were right. About all of it. About how they treat you. About how toxic it's gotten. I used to think you were just cold. But now I think you were brave. Thank you for being the example I needed. I stared at the message for a long time. Brave. That word clung to me like a bomb. No one in my family had ever called me that. Not once. They called me selfish, dramatic, stubborn. But never brave. Maybe I wasn't cold. Maybe I was just tired of bleeding out for people who called it love. The next call came from a number I didn't recognize. I almost declined it, the way you do when you know it's either a telemarketer or someone from your past you really don't want to hear from, but something in me said, pick up. Mason? The voice rasped, low and dry. It was Sarah. I didn't say anything. Just waited. She filled the silence the way she always did. Look. I know I messed up. Okay? I went too far. I didn't think it would go like this. Seth's been suspended. Mom won't stop crying. Dad won't even look at me. My silence remained. And you. She hesitated, like the words were choking her. You always had the power to ruin everything, and you finally did. That one got me. That one almost made me laugh. Because there it was again, the default setting. Even now, she thought I ruined something. That me finally standing up, saying no, drawing a line in bold, neon paint, that was the real crime. I didn't ruin anything, I said calmly. I just stopped letting you walk over me. Another beat of silence. Can you stop it now? Her voice cracked. Drop the charges. Please. I'll do anything. Just make it stop. I almost felt something. I did. But then my mind flashed back to the reunion. To Sarah laughing, swirling wine in her glass while I stared at a drained bank account. To Seth shrugging like he was doing me a favor. To Mom sighing as if I were the burden. To that line. We needed it more than you. No, I said, voice firm. You made this mess. You live in it. And I hung up. That night, I made dinner for myself. A real one, roasted vegetables, pan-seared chicken, the works. I played my favorite album from college, the one no one in my family ever liked. I sat on the porch with a mug of coffee and watched the stars blink on, one by one. No one asked me for money. No one guilted me about visiting. No one sent a passive-aggressive text. I was just alone. But in the best way. I wasn't their wallet anymore. I was just me. And it was enough. People think peace is loud, like a parade or a speech or some grand moment with violins swelling in the background. But real peace? It's quiet. It's still. It's opening your own fridge and knowing no one drained your account without asking. 3 months passed. Sarah and Seth? Still under investigation. Mom and Dad? Still angry. Still in denial. They blamed me, of course. Said I turned on them. That I betrayed the family. Dad wrote me a letter, 10 pages, all loops and swirls in his careful, engineer's handwriting, saying they just assumed I'd always be there. That's what good sons do, he wrote. That line hit like a slap. Not. We were wrong. Not. We're sorry. Just you broke the contract we made without your consent. I moved. New apartment. New state. New job title. My boss noticed how much more focused I was and offered me a promotion. Funny how much easier it is to perform at work when you're not secretly paying your sister's car loan and your mom's overdue utility bills behind the scenes. I changed my number. Left no forwarding address. And slowly, I started to breathe again. One morning, a letter arrived. No return address. Just my name, handwritten. Inside was a check for $1,200. And a note. I left him. You were right. I was scared, but watching what you did gave me the courage to walk away too. This is for everything you paid for, Ellie's tablet, the rent, the clothes. I know Seth never thanked you. But I am. Thank you for being the example I needed. Kelly. I read it twice. Then I cried. Not from sadness. Not from anger. From recognition. For the first time, someone in that family had seen me. Not as a bank. Not as a default. Not as the responsible one. But as a person. It's funny what people ask when they hear about my story. Do you regret it? Do you miss them? Don't you feel guilty? And the answer? No. Not even a little. And not anymore. What I regret, what still stings if I sit with it too long, is how long it took me to realize I had a choice. I regret every sleepless night spent calculating how to pay for my own bills and Sarah's rent. Every canceled vacation. Every lie I told friends about why I couldn't go out, because I was saving. When the truth was, I was floating Seth through yet another rough patch. I regret making myself small so they could feel big. I regret swallowing my boundaries because they branded them selfish. I regret all the times I kept quiet when I should have said, that's not okay. But standing up? Burning it down? No regrets. Not one. My therapist once asked, months before all this blew up, why is it so hard for you to say no to them? And I said, because I thought saying no meant I didn't love them. She looked at me, calm, kind, never pushy, and said something that stuck in my bones. Saying no is how you teach people to love you back. Let me tell you, that hit me like a freight train. Because no one in my family ever loved me back. They loved what I gave. They loved the version of me that made their life easier. But me? Mason, the human being? They didn't even see him. That's what made Kelly's note matter so much. That simple, you were right. Cracked something open in me. Not because I needed to be vindicated, but because for once, someone in the family chose truth over comfort. A few days ago, I ran into a girl I knew from high school. At a coffee shop, of all places. She blinked when she saw me and said, "Hey, I saw what happened. With your family. That's wild." I braced myself. For judgment. For pity. For a patronizing must have been hard. Instead, she smiled. Good for you. Most people never get out. I stood there, holding my coffee, stunned. Good for me. Good for me. 3 months ago, if someone said those words to me, I would have deflected, joked, downplayed. But now, I just said thank you. And I walked away feeling 10 pounds lighter. Last I heard, Sarah's account is still frozen. Seth lost his job. Mom's been trying to refinance the house, but the fraud charges complicate everything. Dad's blaming outside influences for tearing the family apart. Apparently, I'm the outside influence now. Which is poetic, really. They still don't get it. I didn't tear the family apart. I just stopped pretending it was whole. Sometimes I get flashbacks, like muscle memory that hasn't unlearned the trauma. Sarah's voice at that reunion, laughing while I stared at a decimated account. Seth shrugging. Mom saying, "You don't need that money." I wonder if they finally understand that it was never just about the money. It was about my life. My time. My health. My boundaries. And they stepped over every line like it was their birthright. Now they're paying the price. And me? I'm not dancing on their downfall. I'm dancing for surviving it. It's been 6 months. That number feels surreal. Half a year since I walked out of my family's house and never looked back. Half a year since I filed that report, watched the agents knock on the door, and felt the floor shift under the weight of long overdue justice. You'd think I'd feel triumphant. Victorious. Vindicated. But mostly, I feel quiet. Peaceful in a way I didn't know existed. There are no more. Can you help? Texts at midnight. No surprise bills forwarded to my inbox. No more silent resentments building up under fake smiles at dinner tables. No more mom calling me sensitive when I flinch at being used. No more dad muttering, "You know how your sister is." Like her behavior was an earthquake and I was just supposed to rebuild, again and again. There's just me now. And somehow, that's more than enough. I live in a new apartment. In a new city. I walk to work. I plant basil on my windowsill. I listen to old soul records while I cook. I take long showers without checking my phone every 10 minutes to make sure Sarah hasn't drained another 100. I breathe deeper. And for the first time in years, my money is mine. My time is mine. My no means something. Every once in a while, I still get messages. A few more passive-aggressive emails from Dad, full of, "Family means forgiveness," and, "We raised you better." Sarah tried to send a voice memo. I didn't listen. Seth? Nothing. Radio silence since the investigation was officially escalated. But Kelly messages me sometimes. She updates me on her daughter on her new job. She says thank you every time. Not because she owes me, but because she gets it. One morning, another envelope showed up. Inside, a handwritten letter. "Mason. I don't expect a reply. But I needed you to know. They tried to twist it all, even after the fallout. Said you were bitter, selfish, cold. But you weren't. You were just done. And you were right to be. You gave me the strength to get out too. And now my daughter has a mother who doesn't cry in secret every night. That's because of you. You didn't just break a cycle. You ended a legacy. Thank you, Kelly." I folded it neatly and tucked it into a drawer I don't open often, the one with my grandmother's old recipe cards, some old photos, and now this letter. Because legacy? That was the word. For years, mine was just being the bank. The fixer. The reliable one. But now, my legacy is freedom. People still ask me if I miss them. If I feel bad. If it's lonely. And the truth? Yes. Sometimes. Sometimes I think about the time Sarah and I built a Lego castle together when we were 8. Or the Christmas Seth made us all laugh until we cried. I think about Mom humming in the kitchen. Dad handing me my first set of keys. There was love there. Once. But they smothered it under entitlement and expectation until it suffocated. I'll always grieve what could have been. But I won't go back. Because peace? Real peace? It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not a courtroom win or a social media vindication. Peace is walking into your kitchen and knowing every item in your fridge was bought by you for you. It's getting to the end of the month and seeing your savings intact. It's silence, not the kind that follows screaming, but the kind that fills a life when the noise finally dies down. And if you're reading this, if you're the strong one, the reliable one, the one who's always expected to give without limits, let me tell you something I wish someone had told me. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to walk away. And when you do, you don't lose a family. You finally find yourself. And that, more than anything, is worth protecting.